and welcome to Down to Earth. Our question this week is on irrigation, especially on landscape beds. How do you know if you're watering them enough? This is kind of challenging if you haven't gotten to know the plants in your landscape or the soil. The key to always knowing how much to water is knowing your soil. If you have heavy clay soil, you'll water less often, and of course if you have sandy or rocky soil, you'll water more often. But to know when you water the bed, if you're watering enough at that very time, you want to watch as you water, especially if you're hand watering, and let the water pool up around each of the areas that you're watering. And then move on to another area and water that thoroughly, and another area until you've done your whole bed, and then come back through and do it again, or maybe 3 times. You want to allow that water time to soak into the soil rather than watering all in one spot and going through one time for the whole bed. And again, the key is to know your soil type. Our plant this week is Purple Heart, Tradescantia pallida. It's a gorgeous deep purple foliage plant, and it has delicate pink flowers. It only gets about 8 inches tall because it trails vigorously along the ground or over the edges of containers or raised beds if you have them. It performs much better in full sun. It has deeper purple color foliage if you put it in full sun. But as many of our plants are, that can take a little bit of shade. It is listed hardy to zone 8, which is our zone, which means if we have a harsher winter like we did last year, we may lose some of these. The good news, it's very easy to propagate, so if we're going to have a harsh winter, we have a few harsh nights down below freezing, then just go out there and take some cuttings of that plant and put them in a container and plant them out when we come to the spring. It does perform better with regular irrigation, but it tolerates drought. So if you're away for a vacation or we're having a hot spell, you won't necessarily lose these plants. It does love rich, well-drained soil, meaning the soil has a little organic matter in it, but it will tolerate other types. It will tolerate a little bit of clay or a little bit of a rocky, sandy soil. This one is hard to overwater, but it doesn't need a whole lot of water. To do in your garden right now, you want to look around and see if you need to replenish any of your mulch. We had somewhat of a rainy spring. If you put mulch out in the early spring, some of it may have washed away, and we are having a hot summer, so you want to make sure that you are insulating those beds with a good amount of mulch. We'd love to hear from you. Visit klru.org/ctg to send us your question or a plant of the week from your garden.